gonna be an awesome day. Behind me, we got a cool project going on. This is a massive house that's actually on stilts here in Tennessee, which is really not normal. We also have Cody Coleman. He is the newest member to our team. He started today, and we're looking to move him into a kind of like a vehicle management, facility management type role, but he's spending some time in the field to understand what it looks like for us to come out and clean, and what a cool job to start on. A couple of challenges that come with a job like this is, one, unfortunately back in December they had all of their pipes bust on the house. I guess because it's lifted up off the ground, lots of air can get up underneath there and freeze everything out, and so they're down to one spigot. So water pressure is an issue. Also, two, just the sheer height of the home when you get down to the valley section. This is a 2-story house, but when you get down to the valley, it quickly turns into 3.5, 4 stories tall. And so getting up and reaching that very high section of the home is gonna be another challenge. But with the system that we got, the 8-gallon per minute machines, we should be able to reach that height with no issue. We're doing a couple deck washes in the driveway, totaling about $1,500 worth of work in one day, which is pretty awesome. So let's get into it. You do have like 10 to 15 seconds of soap in the line. And so if you immediately started rinsing, you might still have soap in that area. But dude, this looks so good, especially the gutters turned out a lot brighter.
Yeah, it's just that one spot right there that's still brown.
I think you can get that off with water. I think that will rinse off. If not, then we can always just re-hit it with soap.
All right.
Not a big issue. When you're done here, do you feel like you got a good understanding? It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You look like you're crushing it. So let's, when you're done with this section, let's go ahead and get you working on this house corner area.
Okay.
And then when you're done here, maybe you can focus on hitting the whole backside of the house.
All right. And the hose
then,
will reach that far? Yeah, it's long enough.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, we could just pull the truck underneath the house. Be careful with the front doors.
Yep.
Water getting up underneath there and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you wanted to soap the deck with your fan spray while you're here, just go ahead and get that soap down for when we come back and clean it. It might be a good...
Now, how do we do it? Do we do that with the surface cleaner, or
Nope, we'll use our
just like
wand.
we do the house?
We'll end up switching to the pressure nozzle, reducing the pressure, and just going board by board.
Okay.
And it sounds like it would take a long time, but it's actually pretty quick.
It's just like pressure washing the house.
Just like pressure washing the house, man. I feel like I'm entering Narnia right now with all these trees. I think I'm actually gonna throw this hose over this wall because we're really gonna need to maximize all of our hose length. Oh goodness. All right. I'm thinking about enlisting the help of the crew, but I think that would throw off the entertainment portions of this scene. Oh gosh. Yes, I got it. I'm gonna switch the soap, turn on my machine, and we'll get started on the front. All right, now that we are back around to the sunroom side, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to just the fan spray. Also, you can see around the left side where all that metal is down at the bottom, that's also pretty green. So just doing a nice even coat over all this. Get up underneath this soffit here, hit the windows pretty quickly. The panes of the windows can also grow the green algae on the windows itself, so you want to do a light soaping over that as well. If this metal at the bottom doesn't clean up all the way with this soap, we can go through with just some light pressure and just touch it up with just water. All right, so this is the challenging part of homes like this that are on stilts is, yes, it's a 2-story home, but when you start getting into these valleys, I mean, you're looking at some serious height. And so just spending your time making sure that you're hitting everything, getting everything nice and covered. That's the name of the game. Trying not to get rained on here. Just like every other house from bottom to top, sometimes if it's really windy on tall homes like this, you can go ahead and just go straight to the top of the home if there's a break inside the wind and you're trying to battle, you know, hitting these high distances. Make it quick over the windows. I think that's pretty well and covered. We might have to come back to this section in a little bit just to see how everything's cleaning up. Let's go ahead and move to this overhang. Might move up the hill. Just getting creative. You know, I think when we came out here the first time, we didn't have near as much equipment as this, and I remember we had ladders up all over the place. This is gonna take us quite a bit. It's gonna take us less time, obviously, to do this because of all the equipment, how we got it set up now. The high gallons per minute helps you get to these high points on the home. It's not the PSI at all, actually. A lot of people think a higher PSI, 4,500 PSI, will help you get to these heights, but it's really the gallons per minute, kind of like a fire hose. Just getting that large volume, launching it up into the air, that's what you're really looking at. So I think I've pretty much got all this soaped down. We can move on to the sunroom and get it rinsed off and then come back and rinse all this area. I'm just gonna re-clean some of these sections. I can tell it's still dirty. And like we had mentioned before, it's gonna be pretty important that we don't put a lot of water on these window seals. I think this home was built, I wanna say in the 60s. And so it's pretty old, but it is pretty cool as well. Hit the top rim with the jet nozzle, try to knock off some of that green as we're applying soap. And then we're gonna switch to our fan spray and go over these windows one more time. Hitting all the soffits, the window panes, window seals right at the bottom. Real light pressure running over it. I've already soaped this once, so I'm just kind of being real quick. I think when we come back with water, it'll do a lot of the cleaning at the bottom of these windows here. There have been times, if you're not careful, like I can remember when we first started, you'd be cleaning windows like this, and you'd see like water on the window, and you'd like really look at it, and you'd be like, oh shoot, that water's not on the window, it's on the floor, on the inside. And so, you know, just experiences like that is what helps you understand, you know, being really careful with windows, window seals. Sometimes it might seem like we're being too careful, but I'd much rather spend another 20 minutes being really easy on these windows than for all this soap to get in on her carpet, discolor carpet, have to come in and do either patchwork or replace the whole carpet inside the room. And so it pays to be cautious, I'll say that. Try not to have to get a ladder out, but it might end up happening. This is looking a lot better. I don't know if you remember what this looked like before, but all this was like pretty green. Because this doesn't have gutters on this roof, it's causing all this clay to, all the rainwater come off the roof and it splashes onto this clay, and that's what causes all this yellow to accumulate on the bottom of the house. You'll see this with a lot of newer homes. Before the homes get gutters put on them, you'll see all the clay at the bottom, and a lot of times contractors will call you out to clean this up. And if it stays on there long enough, like if you let it go 4 or 5 years without cleaning this off, it can actually end up staining the mortar and the brick. So getting all this clay cleaned off within a reasonable amount of time is definitely the move. All right, I'm gonna switch to water, rinse all this stuff off, and then I might have to accept defeat and say, bring out a ladder, you know. I was trying to do it without bringing out a ladder, but I think that's what might have to happen. All right, I'm running all the soap out of the line, waiting for it to switch to water, and that looks pretty clear. Let's rinse the top first. You can tell that this was all painted right here at one point. I'm assuming that this cap was black and they didn't like it, so they had someone go over it with just a paintbrush. That's the stuff that you'll end up uncovering as you clean. And so just making a note of that kind of stuff, because if this had happened before the current homeowner moved in, she may not know that it got repainted. And so you can be the one to kind of show her, hey, as we're cleaning, we noticed that you had the flashing painted at some point. I don't know if you guys did that or had someone else. And they're most likely gonna be like, oh yeah, we painted that a couple years ago. So just let them know that you didn't take any paint off, because it's pretty obvious now that it's clean that you can see the black showing through the paint. Going through with a little bit more pressure than the fan spray. You just want to be careful with these screens. You don't want to put too much pressure on them. But down here is really what I'm trying to clean up. Get all that soap off the windows. Looks like these trees are causing a lot of buildup right on this seal, so I'm just trying to get as much water up on there to try to rinse as much of it as I can down, because I know as she's looking out these windows, she can probably see that top seal pretty good. Alrighty, let's move on to the shower station, because they get rained on over here. All right, this section, I wish I could say is done, but we've got that very top cap. I think that can come cleaner, but not with what I'm using right now. We've got what's called an X-Jet. I think you guys may have seen it before. We've got a couple of videos on it and how to use it, but I'll end up getting that, bringing it out here, spraying this top lip section. It's gonna be about 3 times stronger than what's coming out of our pressure hose. So hopefully that's our last straw before we have to bring a ladder out. I'm thinking that will probably do the trick. And then we'll move on to the rest of this section here. Got the X-Jet set up. We have 6.25% sodium hypochlorite, actually a little bit less than that, probably about 5%. I put water in this as well. Got the X-Jet, basically this acts as the chemical downstream ejector, but it's at the end and it's higher volume. We got a whole video about this on our YouTube channel, but we're gonna go ahead and spray some of this right here. You can tell it's pretty green right at the top, and then up and over this roof. I'm gonna try to hopefully get the soap to kind of launch over this first section and hit the side of this wall up there above it. So it's pretty quick at pulling soap, so you gotta be quick with this nozzle. But man, it throws soap everywhere, so it's kind of a cool little nozzle. Maybe try to hit this section one more time. All right, when you hear it coughing like that, that means it's sucking air. So it means our bucket's getting kind of low. Might try to let it sit on a slant there so all the soap leans to the one side of the bucket and try to finish this off. You know, a lot of people are going to be wondering, don't you usually have someone rinse for you in situations like this? Yes, if we're using this solution with the X-Jet, we usually do. Now, there's really not any grass in this area, and all these trees are pretty mature. And so you don't have to worry about having a rinser here to rinse the vegetation. Just make sure that you do it before and after you apply the soap. Also, you do have a creek here, and I know that can be an issue if you're not careful, but with how far away we are, by the time anything gets anywhere close to the creek, the pH levels of that cleaner are so neutralized. It's basically water anyways. And so 95% of this is just water and salt. You know, salt's the other 5%. And so that's where you get that sodium from. The hypochlorite, all that stuff with the pH levels, like I said, it's totally neutralized by the time it gets anywhere close to this creek. So should be good there. Trees are no issue and no grass to rinse down. So pretty safe area to use that solution in. I think there's a few areas up there that I might have to re-hit, but once I'm done rinsing, it'll give me a good idea of what actually needs a second application. Anywhere where there's like a patio or like any kind of entryway, you always want to spend a little bit more time in that area, because we know that the homeowner's going to spend time in that area, or at least there's more traffic. And so any kind of patio, any kind of porch, you just want to make sure that you are very thorough, because, you know, farther like back behind me, they're not worried if there's a leaf, you know, really stuck to the bottom of the house, but all that stuff, once it dries, will fall off the home. But as they're walking around looking over the house, double checking everything, you want to make sure that these areas are really well rinsed. Even if it's gonna be fine once the siding dries, you just want to make sure that it just looks perfect for them. And I'm just trying to send a lot of water up here right above the porch. I can't see the bottom of the vinyl, but I know that as long as I get enough soap up there and enough water up there, it will end up cleaning it. Try not to spend too much time spraying up directly underneath this vinyl. You can end up getting water behind the vinyl, and it ends up causing dirt and stuff like that to stream out, and can end up staining the vinyl. Actually, like before you leave it, or after you leave, it'll drain out, and they'll be like, hey, there's orange streaks all over the side of my house, and that wouldn't have been there before. And that's just because water gets up underneath the vinyl, it drains out, and you've got all these nasty little streaks. And so in this situation, I don't have much of an option but to shoot up at this angle, which might end up causing water to get behind there. But it's not a huge issue. It's just I might have to come back and do another rinse. We are officially graduating to the side that I'm actually pretty excited to do. It's this big section right here. I think my strategy is to hit from this angle going up as much as I can, clean this on my way around, and then hit the rest from that upper hill spot. I think I can pretty much hit everything from over on that side. But I definitely want to try to hit as much as I can from where I'm at. Usually that's the best strategy on something this big, is clean as much as you can from wherever you're at, and then eventually, you know, I don't want to get to that side and try to clean and not be able to reach this top section. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit that while I'm here. Nice. Let that sit. See how it does. And I'm sure we'll find spots on there that need re-hit, but I don't want to put too much soap on there.
Today's my first day. It's a lot different than I've ever done before. I've pressure washed before, but nothing like pressure washing a house. I've done driveways with just a wand, but this is a completely different beast. Watching something go from being dirty and black to just in a matter of minutes, just watching it turn white. Really never realized how much work it took into washing a house. It's actually one of those, it's a satisfying thing to watch. It's kind of an art in a way, but it doesn't seem like it's too hard until you start holding that wand in your hand for hours at a time, and then it starts getting what feels like 2 ounces, feels like it's 100 pounds by 2 hours later when you're not used to holding something like that in your hand.
So the trick here is just kind of like you're mowing. You know, you make a border and then kind of go back and forth. You don't want to go too quickly or else it just won't clean. And then you don't want to go too slow or else it'll just take forever. So go ahead and get this hooked up. I'll turn it on for you. And then I'll do 2 pads and then you can do the rest. If my hose is on this side, I want to pull this hose, and since it's on the right side of the surface cleaner, I'm going to work from right to left. That way I'm not constantly kicking my hose. You can line up the dirt with the bar.
Yeah.
And just try to keep it on track there. I'll let you actually take over. This guy's a natural. He's great. So we are wrapping up this job now. Cody's got like 1 or 2 pads left on the driveway. But all in all, this job turned out great. Took us a total of 6 hours for a $1,500 charge. I'd say that's pretty good. The high portions of the home we were able to clean. We used that X-Jet, just shot a bunch of soap up there. We were able to hit it, make it look real nice and clean. If you like content like this of like whole job overviews, let us know in the comments below. We love to get feedback. Like this video if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe. This really helps give us feedback on what we're doing good, what we're not, and let us know if you've ever cleaned a house on stilts before. We'd love to see how you did it and to connect with you. You guys hear that? What's that sound? Is that the sound of you clicking the notification bell?